Good evening there, everybody. What is happening? Hopefully, you all are having a wonderful day today. So, when it comes down to it, I thought, of course, that I would talk about this little video that I found to be very particularly interesting. And I kind of did a video, I believe, about this a couple of weeks ago when, of course, it was learned that Alycia Baughmgardner, who, of course, is one of the top talents within that of the women's boxing world, I believe that she is either a one or two time belt holder at the current moment in time. But of course, in the most recent fight, she was caught on that of PEDs, steroids, or performance enhancing drugs. Of course, there are certain channels like that of the LDBC and new media channels that are alleging that they're trying to ruin her career, all this other shit. And I guess you never know. Do I personally believe that? No. I think that if you're caught on PEDs, more than likely that you had something to deal with it, do with it. Excuse me. It just is what it is. But anyways, CHAMPSIDE once again, like I always say about these LDBC and the media commentators, they're not really commentators. All they are pretty much is fanboys that are trying to disguise themselves as commentators. Basically, what the LDBC and the media's objective is to go back and forth with that of the quote unquote race or racist fans of that of the Caucasian or the Latino fan bases, or possibly even that of the Asian fan bases. Their objective, really, at the end of the day, is not to give you a logical or objective commentary. Basically, what their mindset is that, you know what? Our favorite black fighters get criticized so much by these Caucasians and these Latinos and these Asian fans. So we're going to give them a taste of their own medicine, and we're pretty much going to try and fight fire with fire. And to a degree, I understand. But at the end of the day, once again, if you're going to go along with that mindset, what really makes you that much better than that of the quote unquote race or racist fans, or fans or media members that have those quote unquote double standards? And this is why the LDBC and new media is not meant to be taken seriously, like I've said for many, many years now, because they're nothing but race fans themselves, because basically they've turned themselves into the people that they quote unquote cannot that they cannot stand. Because once again, and the reason why people do this, the reason why you let a troll, or the reason why you let someone like this get in your head in the first place, is because you don't truly feel competent about yourself. And that's why a lot of these LDBC and new media channels, they took it so personally, or they take it so personally when a fighter like Deontay Wilder loses to that of a Caucasian fighter like Tyson Fury, or possibly if Lomachenko beats Guillermo Rigondeaux, or when Inoue beats that of Steven Fulton, or something of a sort. And the reason why that is because they're fans, and at the end of the day, they don't think that they're competent enough within themselves. That's why they keep the sports thing in terms of like a scoreboard to basically see who is more superior within their minds. That's what a lot of boxing fans do. And that's not what you're supposed to do, at least not if you're a commentator. Now, if you're if you're a fanboy, then you're doing exactly what you need to do. But that's why I'm saying I don't like to be a fan of any of these fighters, because that ruins my logic and objectivity. And that's all the LDBC and new media are. They are fans that are trying to keep a scoreboard to basically try and win the race of who is the most superior, because we don't feel competent about ourselves. That's pretty much all they do. But anyways, CHAMPSIDE here, he's going to be talking most recently about Miss Alycia Baughmgardner, who of course recently got caught on that of PEDs. Of course, what we know about Mr. CHAMPSIDE is that on his male pound for pound list, on his men's pound for pound list, he does not have Canelo Alvarez because he was caught on PEDs, and he also does not have Tyson Fury on there because there was a little bit of a PED incident where it was possible that he was on PEDs all the way back, I believe, at around the 2014-2015 year. Well, CHAMPSIDE basically showed that he's pretty much a very incompetent logical reviewer, because he's going to show you that he's nothing more than that of a fanboy, and he's going to tell you this himself. He pretty much goes down to that of the level of the quote-unquote race fans, or the people that, love the other fighters so much that they'll be willing to make any excuse for them just because they like them. And I've always said this: if Tyson Fury and Canelo Alvarez, if their names were Tyrone Alvarez, or if they were, when it comes down to it, if Tyson Fury was a black man, if he was a 6'9" black American fighter, they would not even be talking about those allegations. And don't get me wrong, if you have been caught on steroids in the past, all the allegations that are going to be coming your way, it's going to be somewhat warranted and it's going to be somewhat deserved. But basically, what they prove to me, they always prove my point, at least this proves my point, which is that all they are is a pro-black cult. And they're trying to keep a scoreboard the whole entire time of basically who they believe is more superior, because their favorite black fighters winning fights in their mind creates them feeling more superior, because they don't feel superior. They don't feel competent enough overall as a race of people within their mind. So that's why they get so involved within these fights. That's why they get so involved within that of the Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury fight. That's why Deontay Wilder, when he fell to Tyson Fury, it was almost like their god had pretty much fell, because in a way it pretty much did. What Deontay Wilder stood for was the king of all the delusional pro-black fanboys within that of the media, and when he fell, it felt like a piece of their soul had died. And that's a big part of the reason, once again, why it is very important not to get to that fanboy level. You become very delusional, and you cannot be a logical and an objective commentator when you're like that. I don't care who you are. It is what it is. But anyways, let's see what Mr. CHAMPSIDE has to say. Let's get straight into it.
CHAMPSIDE, keep that same energy you had for Canelo. But I am keeping that same energy. I'm keeping the same energy you had and that you have. Tyson Fury, Canelo Alvarez tested positive for PEDs, clenbuterol and nandrolone. And you have them on your pound for pound list right now. They the greatest, they the matrix, they the best in the world, Craig. You watched Oscar Valdez Navarrete last weekend, and you didn't even mention that Valdez tested positive for PEDs, herbal tea, wild boar nuts, Mexican meat. So you don't find it ironic that you're talking about a women's boxer testing positive while you're watching Canelo right now be glorified and praised at his press conference as we speak?
Once again, Mr. CHAMPSIDE, I understand what you're saying, but if you're going to go with consistent standards, you did not put Canelo Alvarez, you did not put Tyson Fury on your pound for pound list, because you allegedly don't put steroid cheats on your pound for pound list. And I pretty much already knew that that was a ruse. Basically, what CHAMPSIDE is doing there is that he doesn't want to put a white fighter like that, a Tyson Fury, on his pound for pound list, or Canelo Alvarez, because once again, the LDBC in the media, the way that they win at life in their minds is that they see the most amount of black American fighters as much as possible on that of the pound for pound list. That is going to make them, the most happiest in life, and unfortunately, too many people, do that. Not just them, not just the LDBC and new media, but too many people really in life. They put way too much energy into sports. And don't get me wrong, sports are a great entertainment. They're a great thing. I love watching them myself. But when you put that much personal investment within that of a boxing match, something is wrong with you mentally.
No one gives a fuck. So there will be initial outrage. And after that, again, I don't care about y'all initial outrage. I'm telling you, I am keeping that same energy. I learned from the best that I learned from.
Yes, you're keeping the same energy as the people who were not consistent. You're keeping the same energy as the people who had double standards. You're keeping the same energy as the people who were biased. You're keeping the same people who are quote unquote racist. You're keeping the same energy as these mega fan boys that are delusional. If you're keeping the same energy as them, and if you're going to keep the same standards about them, why should I trust you as a logical commentator? And this is what I keep saying about these channels, man. They're nothing more than illogical, over-emotional, racist fanboys. It is what it is. I keep telling people this. And, I get certain people in my comment section saying, oh, well, what's wrong, with some of these channels being out there? Because black fighters have to do so many double standards. And listen, I get that. All that's well and good. But don't sit here and tell me that you're a logical commentator. You can do this all you want to. You do you. But do not tell me that you're a logical commentator and that you do not have a certain horse in certain races when it comes to certain fights, and that you overall don't have a certain amount of emotion when it comes to these fights. Don't sit here and tell me that. Just be straight up honest. At least CHAMPSIDE is honest.
The best, no matter what. Listen, no matter.
So what he's telling you right here is that I am biased. I am a quote-unquote racist, because once again, these fans were quote-unquote racist. these Canelo Alvarez fans, these Tyson Fury fans that were making excuses for the steroids. And, you could possibly argue that, or that they would at least be delusional fans. One could certainly debate that, but then you would also have to argue that about CHAMPSIDE. So once again, if you're going to put the same arguments and hold the same standards, you are basically the people that you've been criticizing your whole entire time, or the whole entire time on YouTube. And that makes you what? That makes you very hypocritical. And you can never trust someone overall, once again, that does not practice what they preach.
For what you say, you all do not give any fucks about anybody testing positive.
Now, personally, this is just my personal view. Steroids, in my personal view, they are usually not enough to put someone off of my pound for pound list. So when it comes to Canelo, Tyson Fury, Alycia, Baughmgardner, other fighters that might potentially be on a top 10 pound for pound list for me, to me, it's not really enough, because I believe personally that a lot of these fighters, that they're probably on steroids, and that a certain amount of them just know how to cover it up. That's just me personally. I personally believe that Manny Pacquiao was probably on something. I believe that Roy Jones Jr. was on something. I believe that Juan Manuel Marquez was on something. I think that a certain amount of these other fighters were possibly on something. I think even Pernell C.P. Whitaker at one point in time was caught on something. But anyways, there's a bunch of fighters that I believe have been caught on steroids. To me, that really isn't enough to degrade their performance quite as much, or degrade their career, because there's just so many athletes and so many fighters that have been caught with that of PEDs. And if you want to go by those standards and not put drug cheats on your pound for pound list, or not count them as great fighters, I don't have a problem with that. But then all of a sudden we need to start talking about Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker. We need to be talking about Sugar Shane Mosley. We need to be talking about John Jones. We also need to be talking about black athletes that also have been caught on PEDs. Because what we're not going to do, at least on my channel, is just talk about non-black athletes when it comes down to it. Overall, just because you want to keep an appeal, or you want to try and keep an image.
As long as you like him. And guess what? I like Alycia Baughmgardner, so she's still on my pound for pound. She gonna stay on my pound for pound, and I'ma stay rocking with her. And if
you see that, she's going to stay on my pound for pound list. I already mentioned this. I already assumed this. So basically what he's saying is that the whole entire time, the reason why Canelo Alvarez and Tyson Fury were not on my pound for pound list is because I hate those motherfuckers. That's basically the reason to why he did not have either Fury nor Canelo Alvarez on his pound for pound list. It was never the drug cheating bullshit when it came down to it. It was always because he didn't want those two guys that look like white fighters when it comes down to it. He did not want those guys on the pound for pound list. Okay?
come to my page because you know I rock with a fighter and you know they took a L, you are a motherfucking lame. And misery loves company, and I never switch up, nigga. So you gonna get your feelings hurt when I tell you that she's innocent, she didn't do it, and guess what? She's still one of the best in the world. What are y'all gonna do? Cry more? Go ahead and cry more so I can block you off of my page. All you do is making your first comment on my page, crying like a sissy about a woman. So again, I am keeping that same energy. You dig? Shout out to the baddest chat in the land. It's the baddest brand in the land, CHAMPSIDE.
Enter the Spedience.
But anyways, that's pretty much about it for today. But once again, very interesting how they always love to put a target on the back of Mr. Inoue, or Tyson Fury, or Canelo Alvarez, or Lomachenko, or let's be real, Usyk, or one of these fighters that, let's be real, does not have the complexion for their protection. Basically, any black American fighters. It's just very interesting. You know, once again, these channels, they're not to be trusted. And once again, that is not me saying that you should trust ESPN to completion or Ring Magazine or anything like that, because they have a lot of their own narratives too. But don't sit here and tell me overall that the LDBC and the media, oh, they're just trying to protect black fighters and they're just trying to do what's best. Bullshit. Once again, they're a pro-black cult overall that is keeping a scorecard because they're fanboys, but it is what it is. Anyways, that's pretty much about it for this video. I just thought that was very particularly interesting. But thank you all so much for watching that one. We'll see what ends up happening with this. Do I believe that Alycia Baughmgardner is more than likely innocent? No. And I'm not, once again, I'm not one to allege most things. But when I do see something that is a little bit suspicious, you can usually tell. She was not just caught, I believe, on one illegal substance. She was caught on multiple illegal substances. How do you get caught on multiple illegal substances and someone allegedly just slipped it into your drink or did this? Please. All right. And once again, these same standards, they were not given to Oscar Valdez. They were not given to Canelo. They were not given to Tyson Fury. They were not given to Inoue. And Inoue has never even been caught on PEDs. But they tried to allege it once again because they need to tear down any fighter that's not a black American fighter. So it is what it is. Anyways, but very interesting the standards that they have depending on which fighter it is. Just thought that was very peculiar. But anyways, that's pretty much about it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you all later.